So when Amy emailed me to speak, she did say, like, I think for January is ugly, and you were the first person that came to mind. And I was like, really? Okay, thank you. No, of course she was talking about Sweater Boys, which is a little side project of mine. And for those of you who don't know, it's a calendar featuring attractive men in ugly sweaters. It's as fun as it sounds. So it actually kind of started as something a little bit different. So I'm going to give you a little bit of history on that. I used to, well, I still do, but I started in about 2006, maybe 2007. I don't know. Having an ugly sweater party every year called the Sweater Soiree. This is just some photos from past sweater soirees over the years. We started it before the whole ugly sweater fad was like huge, and we were just a bunch of weirdos entertaining ourselves at that point. So just me and a bunch of my closest friends. And as you can see, there's a few fake laugh photos gone bad here. Pretty sure Gentry and Kim are choking each other in that one. No, so we just, it was an excuse to get together around the holidays and make idiots of ourselves. The party started growing every year, and I noticed that as it grew and my peripheral friends started attending, it was kind of this like division at the party. It would be like half of us were having a blast and really get into the ugly sweaters, and the other half were like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever been to. Like, everyone here looks terrible. Why are we doing this? So I was like, okay, how can we get everyone really excited about getting into this ugly sweater thing? We're gonna need some incentive. So the first idea was Sweater Babes calendar, Sweater Girls. I was like, I'll just make one. It'll be the grand prize for the ugliest sweater at the party. And this is one of the photos. I wasn't gonna show any more than this because this one's bad enough. But as you can see, it's kind of awful. It's not really sexy. It's just like, if that, like, that's my seduction face, apparently. May or may not explain why I'm still single. So yeah, I just basically grabbed my point and shoot camera and like a few friends who were willing, and just kind of had fun with it. And so I kind of advertised it before the party, like, it's gonna be a great prize. Make sure you get all dressed up in your best ugly sweater. And it kind of worked. People got a little bit more into it that year. In fact, I think the guys that won the calendar, 2 guys won it because they showed up in sweater dresses. And so we were like, all right, you have earned this. So anyway, so it went over well. And I thought, okay, how can we up the ante a little bit and make it even funnier? And as I looked around the room at the soiree, at all these grown-ass men in grandma sweaters, I thought, there's really nothing funnier than that. That's what's funny about these parties is the guys wearing these sweaters. So I thought, let's do Sweater Boys. So this is a result of the first year. Again, just grabbed my point and shoot camera, some somewhat willing guy friends, and went around. And just like one afternoon, I'm like, just show up at my house. I'll just take photos while you guys, and we'll call it good. He's not even wearing a sweater. It's just like a dickie and a bathrobe. Sure. So it was just kind of like, just bring your ugly, everyone brought their own sweaters. So they all had these for some reason. And it went over really well at next year's party. And people started saying, like, can we buy these? And I was like, I just made one. It's just a prize, you know? So cut to 2009. I went to Vietnam. My brother and a couple friends and I did a big backpacking trip throughout all of Southeast Asia. We started in Vietnam. I was a little bit nervous to go over there because of things that different people had told me and because of our history. And for example, my grandma was like, now be careful, if they get the chance, they'll chop off your head and put it on the stick. Like, she was generational bias a little bit, but needless to say, I was a little bit nervous about how they would receive us as Americans. And as soon as I got there, I realized all those fears were unfounded because they were the most lovely people, so warm, so inviting, and so kind. So I was really moved by them and their affection for us as Americans, because there's still so much work to be done over there as far as like landmine removal, a lot of unexploded ordnance that people are tripping over still these days. And I was really moved by their love for us, and I wanted to try and help solve this problem that was still occurring over there. So we met with a couple people from an organization called Project Renew, and they have great programs in place for people who have been affected by leftover ordnance. And so I thought, okay, I really want to support these guys. They're really making a difference over here. But I was a poor grad student at the time and had no financial means to really make a difference. So I thought, what can I do to try and raise money for this? And then I thought back to people asking, like, can I buy these calendars? And I thought, well, hell, why not? Let's try and sell the calendars, see if anyone's dumb enough to buy it in mass quantities, and we'll try and raise some money from there. So that's kind of how it got started, the charity aspect of it. So I started donating a good chunk of the proceeds to different charities every year. It started with Project Renew in Vietnam. This is kind of the start of it. There's a few slides here. I'm going to review like the highlights of Sweater Boys over the years. But it started with Project Renew, and then we did an organization in Peru that was funding schools in the high Andes that had literally just a bare room, no school supplies. And then Women's World Health Initiative, which helps women in Africa survive the often fatal side effects of childbirth. And then this year, I guess, we're supporting the Road Home, which is local. So typically I've tried to support charities where the dollar can go a really long way. And also that were causes I was passionate about. But it was kind of nice this year to support something local, like right in our own backyard. It kind of became less about just like, oh, here's you in an ugly sweater, and more about like, let's get themes going for these. So like, these guys at first who were kind of hesitant actually really started getting into it, and they would approach me every year like, I have a great idea for Sweater Boys this year. Like Dallas Graham, for example. He called me up this year and he's like, can I be in mine for Sweater Boys this year? I'm like, why not? You were a zombie last year. We'll just keep you as Mr. October. Like Carney Sweater Boy, Pool Boy Sweater Boy, Backwoods Sweater Boys. This guy, I like ran into in Hawaii. He was a friend. And I knew that he had wanted to be part of Sweater Boys. He's like, and I'm like, look, when you get off the trail, let's hook up. If I can find an ugly sweater on this island, we'll do a shoot. And I did. And that was a Little Mermaid pose was the result. Street Thug Sweater Boys. You'll see that there's a series of characters who are repeats because it just kind of became tradition every year. We're going to make this ugly calendar together. And it became more of a collaboration with me and all my hilarious guy friends. Trapeze Sweater Boy. The whole shoot, some of these guys are just like, this is terrible. And then they'll like, oh, this is so embarrassing. You know, it's so funny to watch them just like agonize, but later they're like, it was a pretty good shot. So these guys, businessmen Sweater Boys, strictly business as you can see, they're actually really successful clothing designers here locally, and they made their sweaters. When I asked them to be Sweater Boys, I was like, just find another sweater or whatever. And they're like, oh no, we're designing them. So they went and got stuffed animals at DI, chopped them up, sewed them on, whatever, and left them in their closet. And their landlord had to go to their apartment one day to fix something, and the closet was open, and he saw these sweaters in there. So he calls them after, like, oh, I fixed your whatever. And then there was just like this awkward silence, and he's like, so is that what you designed? Is that the clothing line, the sweaters? I just saw them in your closet. Like, no. And they've never been in the calendar since. So, but that one is one of my favorites. Yeah, and then this is a group of friends of mine in a band, and my friend Sarah there is the first girl that's made it into the calendar because she's so funny. I couldn't resist throwing her in there. Jet ski Sweater Boy, they just kind of do whatever you know, whatever, any idea that somebody brings to the table, I'm open to. So this fad of ugly sweaters has kind of become huge, you know. This is the type of stuff that people were posting on the Sweater Boys Facebook page this year, like ugly Christmas sweater suit. Like, do people actually buy those? I hope so, and I hope they show up at the party. This is disgusting, but I hope someone shows up in those next year. And this is like a little blasphemous, but also maybe the funniest sweater I've ever seen. Somebody showed up in swants last year. Actually, as a little Mermaid Guy, he showed up in swants that he made. Like, people just like go crazy over this ugly sweater thing. And I was thinking about, like, why? Why are we all like so into this? And I think like throwing on an ugly sweater is like the equivalent to having a beer. Like, suddenly you're like, hey, I'm the fun party guy, cutting loose, you know? Like, takes away your inhibitions. Also, it gives girls like sweater goggles. Like, a dude that's like an average Joe can walk in, but if he's wearing like a really awful sweater, you're like, it takes a lot of confidence to pull that off. That guy must be funny. We can talk to him. So it's just, I think, a way for people to kind of like cut loose, I guess, and just kind of not take themselves too seriously. And I guess ugly has a way of doing that. So with the fad getting as big as it was, I thought, man, I really need to like separate myself from the pack this year. What can I do? And so I love doing film production. That's what I do for work, but it's rare I get an opportunity just to do a fun side project. And so I thought, I'm going to do one for Sweater Boys this year. So I started a series of, and you can go to the next slide, of doc-style videos called Behind the Sweater. Basically just giving the backstory behind the Sweater Boys and like, what does it take, and you know, what do they like? And so I started with these guys. They're good friends of mine. I don't know if any of you know the Whitaker Boys. They started the Salt Lake Film Festival 5 or 6 years ago, I can't remember. They're really involved in the film community, and they're all really freaking hilarious. So, and they're really comfortable in front of the camera, great at improv. So I was like, you guys, they were Street Thug Sweater Boys. And I was like, you guys, let's do this. Let's just kind of, I'll show up, I'll just have, it's gonna be me and my little 5D, and we'll do something. And so I showed up and I was like, okay, here's kind of what your characters are like. I'm just gonna feed you lines and you just roll with it. And no matter like what I fed them, what question, however ridiculous it was, they didn't even like bat an eyelash. They were so good at improv. So I figured this would be a good note to end on. I'll show you this video here.
Why you gotta come around here? You should feel privileged. You get to come out here with us, doing the shit that we do in our sweaters. Cause you can, you won't, and you don't stop. Cause you can, you won't, and you don't stop. Oh, when you can, you won't, and you don't stop. My D coming out for sure, I got the brand new dude, you guaranteed like you. I'm on like that's a job, yeah, Mr. Zeus. I'm a newlywed, I'm not a divorcee.
So, who started this sweater gang thing?
Our mom.
What? Your mom?
Our mother. Our mother. We were all born about, what was it, 8 days apart? And instead of wrapping us up in swaddling clothes, she wrapped us up in a sweater.
That doesn't make any sense.
You don't make any sense.
How long you been a sweater boy?
Man, I've been doing this 2 years, man. Now I'm out here stripping on the street, getting that scratch.
Hey, you're gonna be looking at my man, you gotta pay me some good money.
Hey, are you looking at his bod? You come to our neighborhood looking at his bod? You know, if a guy comes around this area and he wants to roll up on this, honey, I'm gonna tell you right now.
2 words, no free looks.
It's a half sweater. You're stepping it up.
Hey, where's your zipper?
Stepping it
Yo,
up.
where's your zipper on your
Watch
sweater?
you
You ain't got
stepping
no
it up.
zipper.
You're a gang? What do you do as a gang?
Just read our tag on the wall. Wrap it up.
We stay gold.
You still didn't answer the question, what do you guys do as a gang?
Oh, what do we do as a gang? Well, maybe you should clarify your questions a little better. What do we do as a gang? What do we do as a gang?
We do a lot of community service. We read books to children, make sweets. But one time, our elderly neighbor, she was like, I lost my jade monkey. We assembled ourselves, we got our dog. We went out, we went into the old haunted mansion, up, oh, Creek Street.
Oak Crest Street, man.
Oak Crest Street. We found the jade monkey. Brought it back to this old
I'm
woman.
pretty sure this is just a Hardy Boys book.
No,
No.
no.
I don't know.
Okay, you're just, it's just a Hardy Boys story that you're.
Anyway,
Hardy Boys, more like party boys. You come on our neighborhood with the sweater on?
Leave me alone.
you want to know
It's
a
a
good
good
sweater?
sweater. I know.
It's a terrible
I know
sweater,
you got-
man.
you got
come
a
to our
zipper? I know.
neighborhood-
I don't have a zipper.
No. Check this out. You see that garland?
No.
That wouldn't stand one day in my neighborhood.
No.
You got a fool that rolls up in here wearing garland on his shirt.
Garland, man.
You know what that means here?
Yeah, but you're wearing sequins, so.
And garland.
When you leave our neighborhood, you tell your bros in Sweater Island to stay the out of here. Do you
Okay.
understand? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm
Yes.
saying? Good. You see this? I have to work hard for this. Do you understand?
I know. It's nice.
You have to work very hard. It is nice.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Don't sip on my glasses.
Thank you.
I'm gonna say something right now, so pay attention. I'm gonna say it once, maybe twice. I love 3 things in the world. 1, my mom, when I love her, but I don't always love her. 2, I love my gato. Rest in peace, hamburger head. And 3, I love sweater boys. In a non-sexual, non-threatening way. If you come into our neighborhood without your sweater boys calendar, I can assure you right now, we're gonna sink you like a tinkler.
What does that even mean?
It means something. It's in the Bible.
Now I see Adam Young in the place to be. The girls are on me cause I'm down with Mike T. I'm down with Mike T and it ain't no baloney. For real, not phony, OE and rice-a-roni. I come out at night cause I sleep all day. But I'm the king at rock and he's MCA.
On that note, they did such a good job. On that note, here's hoping we can all find the beauty or the funny in the ugly. So thanks, guys.